not really here about us tonight. We're here about these 4 amazing storytellers and these 2 musicians. And when we thought about getting these storytellers together, I knew right away that this first storyteller would be here tonight. At least I would ask him to come. Jim and I go back a long way. He was crazy enough to hire me as a guidance counselor back at Gardner High School over 25 years ago. We connected instantly because we have a few things in common. 1, nature. We love being outdoors. We love going to the beach. 2, we both play hockey. We both grew up playing hockey. We went to University of Washington. He went before me, slightly older. And we're wicked hockey fans. Philadelphia Flyers, Detroit Red Wings. Every year we have a bet for a 6-pack. I don't drink. I get a 6-pack of sparkling water if I win. He gets a 6-pack of beer. I don't think it's fair. And what's worse is my Flyers rarely win, so I'm always handing the 6-packs over to Jim. We have one other really kind of special bond. We have to go to the opening of the movie for this particular franchise. It is our tradition. Yes, Bond, James Bond. So we go to the movies whenever James Bond comes out, and that's something that he and I share. But Jim is a professional guidance counselor, but he's beyond that because he teaches, he facilitates across the country other career counselors. He's a career facilitator. He does trainings at collegiate level, high school level, adult ed level. He has his own business, his own practice. He's contracted by other organizations as well. But beyond that, he's an incredible man. And he's been one of my best friends during a really challenging journey at times. But he's got a really cool story to share with you tonight. So it's my honor to welcome Jim Peacock.
Thank you. So does everybody have a piece of chocolate? Well, I should say that backwards. Does anyone not have a piece of chocolate that was given at the desk, except for Chris, because he ate it? I said, do not eat that chocolate. But he did. So if you don't have it, I'm assuming you all do, and if you don't, then Annie or somebody can gift you one. Do not eat it until I tell you that. 1981. That was 1983. I finished grad school, and I knew if I never took this trip to New Zealand that it just wouldn't happen. So that was an interesting phone call to my parents. I just graduated from Oregon State grad school, and what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm going to leave for a year. So I was in New Zealand for about 6 months, and basically I was just backpacking around, going to I backpacked through just about every national park. I think every national park that New Zealand has. I was there for about 6 months, and had a great time. You're never more than 70 miles from an ocean, and they got magnificent mountains, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful trip. And then in January, so I was there in September, so it was about 4 months into this trip. I met a guy coming back from Stewart Island, which it's the furthest southern island in New Zealand, and I told him how much I love to fish. And this New Zealander's just talking to me. Yeah, well, you like to fish? Come over to my house. I'll give you a fishing pole and give you these lures, and go up to Manawai Village. And my brother lives there. And here's a map. He does a hand-drawn map, and he goes, go on this trail, and you spend a night up at this lake. And I was catching rainbow trout, like this big, on a lure. And then you go down to a hut and you stay there, and then the next day you leave the trail and you go into this valley, the Grebe Valley. I'm like, awesome. And then you hike 10 miles down there, and then at the end of that valley, you come up, go up the fjord, and there's an old service road that goes into the power line. I'm like, okay. So I'm out. I did not see a soul. I didn't see a plane. I didn't see nothing for the 5 days I was there. But the last day, it started to rain, and I have a hard time telling this story. Water. Sorry. I've been practicing, and I did practice. So this valley. So that the last night I was there, I was at the far end of the valley, and all I needed to do was walk out and go up the fjord, and it would have been a simple walk to the road. Well, that night it started to rain. The day it started to rain, and I said, "Well, I'll leave in the morning." So this valley, again, I'm way out at the very end of this. The fishing was amazing. It was beautiful. This is the last picture this camera ever took, though, because when I went to bed about 9, at 1 in the morning, this was all water. All of this was underwater. This entire valley was a lake, and so I'm in. Whoop. Sorry about that. So I'm in my tent, water's coming in, I'm like, oh my God. So I find it, I can see a tree that's got the highest ground, so I kind of go over there, and I grab all my tent and my stuff, and I sit under this tree. Well, it's 1 in the morning, I'm not going anywhere till the sun comes up. So I wait and sat there under this tree until sometime around probably 6 in the morning, and I could finally start to see things. And so grabbed my pack, started walking. So I'm walking in water up to my knees. I'm walking, water's up to my thighs. I'm walking, water's up to my waist. And now I can see ferns up ahead, so I know it's shallower. So I start heading there. And then I'm walking along, underwater, full pack. Climb underwater up to get out, and I'm like, oh my God. So I change direction and I keep walking. Meanwhile, I'm just heading to those mountains. That's all I want to do. I'm probably, I don't know, might have been a half a mile away, something like that. And so I keep going. And then the second time, I went underwater again. In case you want to know, you don't float so much the second time you go down. The pack was filled with water, and I just stayed down, and I finally crawled up. And so this is when I said, okay, I gotta ditch this thing. So I tied my pack up into a tree and then started swimming. And basically, I'm in the woods, just swimming through the woods. And I was just going from tree to tree. And I'm swimming along, and finally, after a long time, I don't know how long, you don't swim fast, you just kind of going tree to tree, just finding the closest tree that gets me to that mountain. And then I got to this open area, it might have been 100 yards, there were no trees, but just on the other side was the cliffs that I needed to get to, and my other choice was to stay in the trees and go way down. And I said, well, I'll swim across, and I can always float on my back and just sort of take a break if I get tired. So I swam out, start swimming, and I get about halfway out, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I gotta take a break. So I fill my lungs up with air, and I sink. I have clothes on, I got boots on, I got 15 miles to walk when I get out, so I couldn't throw that stuff away. So then I'm back to the surface, and I'm going, this is it. This is crazy. And so I kept swimming, and remember, I'm swimming across, in essence, I'm swimming across places like this, I'm not really swimming over a lake. There's bushes below me and stuff, and all of a sudden I got tangled up in these vines, and this is when, and then I couldn't get out, and so life passed before my eyes, white light at the end of the tunnel. It all happens, folks. And then I really don't know what happened. And I just found myself on the top of the water, and still with another, 50 yards to go, whatever it was. And I just kept swimming. And I remember getting to like a tree that looked like a pine tree, and I got the branch, I'm probably 10 feet in the air. I pulled myself up the branch, and I just sat there on this branch, and I'm like, oh my God. And, but then I realized I was starting to get chilled, and I said, I gotta get back in the water. So I saw this log float by, and I'm like, I grabbed that, and I just held on to it and pushed off on a tree, and I floated and paddled, and floated and paddled. And I finally got to land. I can remember thinking, oh, good, I'm not gonna drown. And I stood up and just fell right over. I was so hypothermic at that point, and I'm like, oh my God. So I just started crawling up the side of this cliff. It's sort of it's a fjord. So it's the fjords. It's a steep mountain, and so I just kept going. And by the time it was probably 500 feet, and I finally got up, and there was the service road that I needed to walk out on. And I remember looking back into that valley. The whole valley was a lake. It was just unbelievable, So I'm thinking, and by this time my body cores up, so I start walking, and I'm like, I can walk 15 miles, that's nothing. But what I didn't take into consideration is that the fjords basically were just mudslides. So there were times I was walking through mud up to my chest, climbing over trees that had been huge trees that had fallen down. So 15 miles later, I made it, and stayed with this guy's brother for a few days until the waters went down, and I went back down in the valley and got my pack, sitting up in a tree. Socks were in bushes, all kinds of stuff. And then I just, and then I said, well, I still had another month and a half in New Zealand, a month in Australia, and another month to travel, get back home. And I said, well, start hitchhiking again. So a lot of people say, well, did it change you? And I say, it didn't really change me. I think it really solidified some things I was thinking about. It made things that were important to me more important. I think it got me closer to my authentic me, who I am. And so I've carried that with me. And for years ever since then, I've been hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, which is like the Appalachian Trail on the West Coast, from Mexico to Canada. And so two buddies of mine, we started hiking the Pacific Crest Trail that would have been, well, we went in 81 the first time. We went for 30 days, 400 miles. If you still like those people after that time, then you have some pretty good friends. And we did. And so over the years, we've been section hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. As a matter of fact, a year ago, April, I finished one of the last sections of my one buddy. He lives in California, so he actually finished the entire 2,600 miles. I only have 1,600. So, but one of the things that happens on the trail was I look back through my journals. One of the things that I see is this theme. It has to do with the importance of environment in my life. It has to do with the importance of slowing down, of being thoughtful, of time with people. That's what I learned through my near-death experience. It's all those things that are so important, and that was a theme throughout all my journals. It keeps coming back, and I can still remember one journal entry where I said, I never feel more like me when I'm in the mountains on the trail. But the trouble is, how do we capture that every day? I can't go all the time to go backpacking. How do I capture that? And that's my challenge to you folks. I think you have to take 10 minutes. You got to take time every day on a regular basis. And it could be meditation, it can be yoga, it can be doing all kinds of stuff. But you've got to do that. You've got to find something. I want to share with you, now's the time for your chocolate. So you can open up your chocolate. One of the things we do on the Pacific Crest Trail is we have a brick of that nice 80% cocoa bars, and you got the little blocks. So when you're out for 20 days, like we were on the John Muir Trail here, you didn't get a lot of candy. So here's what I want you to do. Don't bite. Okay, no. Simon Says. Open it. All I said was open. I forgot to say Simon Says. So what I want you to do is to take the smallest bite you can. This is what we did on the trail. So you only had one little square. That might be it for like 2 or 3 days. The smallest bite you can. Think about the chocolate in your mouth. Feel it. Just take all the senses. There's some different kind of flavors in different parts of your mouth. And it's melting, and it's going down your throat. Take another small bite. Taste the chocolate. You can kind of feel it in your nasal passage. You can smell it. It kind of goes up into your nose and your nasal passages, and it gets all the aroma and all the flavors of chocolate, the cocoa. We would have that little piece of chocolate we try to make last for 10 or 15 minutes. You know what that is, folks? That's mindfulness. If we had the time to do this, I would go slower, but I just got my 2-minute mark. But what's mindfulness? Be present. Think about when you're having a chocolate, eat it as slow as you can. Do yoga, take time, pour yourself a cup of tea. We live in this tsunami of information that comes at us from all these different points of view. They're coming at us from email and Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff. And you've got to take time. I do a tech-free, social media-free day, and I'm doing it, at this point in time, I'm now doing it once a month. Shut it off, walk away. I would encourage you to consider shutting off everything for whatever you can do. Even at 4 hours. You don't need it. Your mind doesn't relish it, folks. Journal. Do whatever you need to do. Take the time to really slow down and be present with who you're with, and be present in your own mind, and be okay with the silence that goes with it. That's where creativity happens, and our brains need it. My challenge to all of you is to take 10 every day. Thank you.